Hello you what's faces, welcome back to a new video. Tigon here, and today I'm going to fix Farlight's movement issues in about 60 seconds. However, the rest of this video is going to be dedicated to the nuance of everything I say. So with that said, let's begin. The main thing is we need to increase the movement speed. We're going to do that by adding momentum to the movement. The momentum is going to keep on increasing your movement speed every time you hit a slide jump until the maximum amount of speed that you are moving is the speed that 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓬𝓲 moves when he pops his ultimate. If you incorrectly time a slide jump, your speed will get canceled out. And the only way you're going to be able to move this fast is if you have your weapon holstered. That's how you fix the movement. The game needs more environmental movement. It needs Fortnite-like parkour movement, and it needs Omni movement. This will put the game at the equivalency of something like Apex. That's how you fix movement. However, I think the game needs something more. I thought about it long and hard, and there's actually a solution to the jetpacks. Turn it into jet fuel. Make it a finite system, and that will fix the jetpack issues. In the rest of this video, I explain exactly what I mean in detail. And what do you know? I did it all under a minute. So now it's time for the yapping. Now, before we get into this, I do want to say the devs absolutely cooked. The game feels so much more premium. It feels very crisp. It feels like it's on that next level. Everything in terms of like the UI, the design choices, the color palette, the weapon sounds and gunplay feel so top tier. It's insane. And what they were able to do in this amount of time. I'm going to be harsh, but don't let that take away from the fact that they genuinely cooked here, and I know for a fact Farlight is becoming a better and better game day by day. Farlight 84 has made significant progress, but movement mechanics still need attention. Even with jetpacks, there were still moments of stillness, and that was due to the cooldowns that the jetpacks had, and that made the game feel very disconnected. The removal of jetpacks has only worsened this issue. The base movement speed is very slow, and it makes the game feel sluggish, and actions like healing and reloading feel unnecessarily delayed, negatively affecting pacing, making it challenging to outplay or even enjoy fast-paced action. Movement needs to be faster and more dynamic to keep the gameplay fluid and engaging. Sliding should offer a bit of a speed boost, and transitions between sliding, jumping, and sprinting should be seamless. This is my solution to fix movement. First off, we have Apex type momentum based sliding. Since I already explained it earlier, we're going to skip it and we're going to move on to number 2, which is Warzone type movement. The way to go ahead and go for a Warzone type of movement is faster sprinting. Full sprinting speed should probably match 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓬𝓲's ultimate speed, like we said with Apex. And what this will do is it's going to allow players to actually go ahead and take advantage of the slide cancel mechanic that's already in Farlight, which I think is pretty cool. You can slide cancel in this game, and it's really neat. Now, last but not least, we have the COD Mobile / Fortnite type boosted sprint and jumps. And essentially, you just increase the base sprint speed. Slide jumps will provide a boost with no cooldown or dead slides, and the transition should not slow down any gameplay. Now, this is a good option because it's going to be a very simple type of movement mechanic, but everyone's going to be able to use it, and the better you are, the better you're going to be able to use it effectively. Simple, but it's going to be right to the point. Now, with that said, I know as crazy as this might sound, the movement Farlight has currently isn't bad. You do get a slight boost when you do hit the slide jump and time it properly, and when you're in a one-on-one engagement, I've noticed especially in the arcade mode, people are moving pretty fast. The problem comes in where when you're trying to run from someone, you cannot get away because you don't have any momentum, nothing to go ahead and get you away faster. You are a sitting duck currently, and there's nothing you can do. Now, this is the bare minimum, and I say that because what it's going to do is going to take Farlight from being essentially PUBG with some magic casting abilities back into a movement shooter. Now, out of all the 3 options I gave, I chose the momentum-based option because shooting in this game is way more complex than something like COD Mobile or Warzone because you have to lead your shots. So I think this will allow it to be still easy to hit people that are moving kind of fast. However, simultaneously, if you've taken the time to master the movement mechanics, you'll be able to get away and not be a sitting duck. If this game wants to survive, this needs to be done ASAP, like in the next 3 months if possible. This is a basic movement system, and it's akin to something like COD Mobile BR in terms of the level of it. Like, it's has a working gameplay movement loop. No more, no less. With this movement system, it's not on the par of something like Apex yet, and that is the competition realm it is in, even on the PC side. So that's why, funnily enough, I actually thought of this before we saw this brand new game come out. I thought Omni movement after playing Call of Duty is a pretty good feature. Now, Farlight kinda has this, but you need to be able to run fully sideways, run backwards. With that done, people would actually be able to slide jump backwards, which no other game had except for a glitch in Apex Mobile. However, this time it would actually be balanced. Now after that, parkour movement like Fortnite, that'll be amazing. When you sprint, you get into a movement run that looks cool, and if you're moving fast, lets people hang onto ledges, vault over objects, etc. Essentially a quality of life update. That along with environmental movement, which I think is always forgotten, but it's just as important. The boost spots that we have and the new zip lines are perfect examples of this. Let's just go ahead and cook up some more versions. Now, of course, I don't see this extra movement being added soon, maybe 6 to 7 months. However, it will give Farlight a lot more needed depth. Now, much like previously how I said, if only adding a proper movement loop would only get Farlight to about the level of COD Mobile, adding those 3 other movement types would actually get Farlight to the level of something like Apex. It would actually be in a fighting arena at this point. Overwatch and Marvel Rivals are essentially in the same genre of the game. However, what Marvel Rivals is offering is you're actually able to play with characters that you know and love from other IPs. You get to play with the Marvel characters. That, on top of the fact that Overwatch isn't doing so hot, makes it a viable option to go ahead and play. So going back to Farlight, as lovely as the buddies are, and even with them adding FPP, that is not enough to build an audience around. Farlight is missing something it once had, which is the ability for someone to see a clip and be like, oh my god, if I played that game enough, I'd be able to actually do that. I'd be able to hit a clip like that. That amazement and wow factor. The buddies doesn't offer that, because even if it's something cool, that's not something that the player would be able to do based upon their own skill in the game, and they feel accomplished when they do it. It's cool, it's something, oh, that's a feature, but it's not necessarily an accomplishment that the player could feel proud in, as well as be unique to that game itself. Now, in this current era, Farlight has so much competition, both on the PC front and on the mobile front. Fate Trigger is a perfect example, not to mention Valorant and potentially Apex Mobile coming back as well. Now, on the video of a creator named Eyeshades, it was actually mentioned that Farlight's all-time peak was around 40,000 on Steam alone, not even including mobile, and at certain points was doing better than Battlefield 2042. And it reminded me of something that was said about the PAL World game, and it is that it is extremely hard to have a game do well. That is not something that is a feat that just happens consistently. And it's because you have to put in so much money and so much effort just to get a game off the ground, get people to adopt it. Farlight at one point had a golden goose. And yes, I do love that this dev team is so ambitious and they always find something new to go ahead and spice up the game, and they keep updating and improve the game, which you cannot say for a lot of games. However, if you have a golden goose or something that works extremely well, I will say it's not a bad idea to stop, take a look back at what did that for you so well, and try to go ahead and recapture. And I say that because it is extremely hard to go ahead and get a game onto that level, a game where with almost no advertising is able to pull that many consistent viewers, and it wasn't even polished to the way it is now. Even though Apex Mobile pretty much never updated that game I think was updated like a total of 3 times, and I'm not really exaggerating. It was still able to hold a pretty good player base with almost no updates, and that is because the main core gameplay loop was that good. They had captured lightning in the bottle that it felt like nothing else. The same was true for COD Mobile BR. It had a pretty good gameplay loop, and it kept people there for a long time, even without the most consistent updates to the Battle Royale version. All that to say, I think there's actually a way for Farlight to go ahead and add back jetpacks. The reason why they removed it is simply because it wasn't able to be balanced. They were too fast for people to really hit when trying to shoot at them. It also caused pacing issues, and on top of that, they were a get out of jail free card for literally any engagement. Now, I have actually 2 options that I thought about that could potentially fix how broken the jetpacks were while still delivering the same magic. So first off, I'm officially introducing jet fuel. Now, for starters, if we're gonna add a jetpack back, we're gonna need to add a jetpack button, right? So you might say this is way too many buttons in the current state of the game, and I'm saying there's a way to make it not. The buddy button does not have to be 2 separate buttons. You can take the current icon button and make it a tap and hold, and it'll allow you to access the wheel, and everything can be done in that one button for the buddy button. This way, to catch buddies, all you need to do is tap the button to equip the ball, and then tap and hold it to actually access a wheel, much like the health wheel, and then you can select whatever you want from the ball. Also, for PC players as well, the shift button could be repurposed for this, because you could just go ahead and use auto run. Now, as I said with jet fuel, right? You need to make the jetpack boost a finite resource, much like Fortnite did with building. You need to make it lootable, so fallen enemies drop their jet fuel reserves. This means any jet fuel they were holding on to, you can steal and take. Give it a siphon. Every kill you get is a boost you earned. You can display it as an energy bar divided as bricks over the top of your health bar. Or you could also put it around the crosshair like how in Overwatch, telling you how many boosts you have. Kind of the same way the ammo icon is near your crosshair. Just put it on the opposite side. Now, even Fortnite realized building was broken, but they kept their core identity and solved it by nerfing it or creating items to do so. This system allows the devs to control jetpacks and add buffs and nerfs as needed. You could, for example, balance it by making vertical boost use up 2 bricks and a horizontal use 1. You could also make it so you can only carry 4 bricks of jet fuel at any given time. For button real estate, you need to make the jetpack 1 button like in PUBG New State, and to vertically boost you need to look up. This means it will be hard to shoot and boost above someone's head. You could also revert Maggie to her original power, but make it so she couldn't interact with the jet fuel system. Keep in mind this buffs Maggie because it means she can boost directly up while looking at a target, so that means she can shoot and boost vertically at the same time. Her other buff will be the fact that her jetpack is going to continuously produce jet fuel. Maggie would still retain her original jetpack boost system. With that said, instead of giving her a boost button like you would give everyone else, that button could be replaced with the role she once had. Now, the lore explanation would be, while making pizza deliveries, Maggie found what's called a cardinal jetpack. While I can't use the jet fuel system, it generates its own boost after time. These were discontinued after companies realized final packs, the current design, are a bit more profitable. You could also add a buddy that creates jet fuel for you and make it a little bit rare, and this would have fixed sliding framework should make the game feel fast-paced and flow right. Currently, you can play using jetpacks and sliding with someone like Maggie, and it feels right and it makes sense. Now, as the devs say, they want to add FPP, and FPP and boosting, I still think it could be possible. For example, you can think Tracer like Overwatch, or even look at some of the clips from the finals where people are using the boost ability. However, for the game's lifestyle and health, if it has to be one or the other, jetpacks are way more important than FPP. Now, how does this fix and balance everything? Well, jetpacks are always going to be strong, just like building is always going to be strong in Fortnite. However, because it's a finite resource now, it's not going to be so abundant where you could just spam it. If you use your jet fuel to get out of an ability hold, you won't have any more fuel. The pacing issues will be fixed because you have sliding now, so you don't only have to rely on that and you can still move. You don't have to just be a sitting duck when you don't have jet fuel anymore. Now, lastly, it was hard to track for weapons, and that required very strong aim assist. With the new system of having to lead your shot for shots to connect, I actually think it might almost be a little bit easier to hit jetpack shots, because if you're aiming in front of someone, they should probably run smack dab into those bullets, especially with the fact that they have aim assist, so I don't think it might even need to be buffed necessarily. The other thing is, because it's finite, it's not going to be happening all the time. And then lastly, if someone's using a jetpack, you really shouldn't be shooting. Either use your own jetpack or use an ability. It's kind of like a game of rock, paper, scissors. If someone uses this, you use that. You don't want to be doing that at the exact same time. Now, my other theory is a bit more rudimentary. Essentially, what you would do is, if someone uses any abilities, right, what it's going to do is it's actually going to short circuit your jetpack. You're not going to be able to move anymore. It sounds crazy, but it's a pretty easy balance. So someone throws a 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓬𝓮, you get hit by that, your jetpack, it's going to malfunction. It's going to need maybe 3 seconds to restart. Will it be annoying to go against? Yes. But if you're a skilled player, you're going to use the jetpacks to actually avoid getting hit. That's how you should be using them, to go ahead and boost out the way so it makes you hard to hit. And with the new slowdown mechanic in the game, make it so if you get hit while using a jetpack, it's gonna slow you down. That's where you want to put a slowdown mechanic. You want to put a slowdown mechanic in a game that's extremely fast-paced, not in a game that is kinda slow. So having all this should help nerf jetpacks by going ahead and technically buffing everything else. You could even make it to where you have to holster to use your jetpacks, or even a jetpack mode, kind of like how Fortnite, when you go into building, you have a building mode. It's like a separate little thing. And to clarify, by building mode, I'm referring to the fact that when you play Fortnite, you cannot shoot and build at the same time. A actual jetpack game mode would also be cool though. Essentially, what I'm pushing for is the devs to really take some time and figure out how to properly implement jetpacks in this game. Even in its current state, Farlight still has jetpacks tied into every aspect, even with the jet slide. It's just weird that players are not able to fly with jetpacks. Similar to the way Warzone went ahead and added slide canceling back into the game after MW2 because people just wanted it that bad. Even with a game like Fortnite, what made their game super unique, why Fortnite blew up, was of course the massive updates, but it was the building. It was unlike anything else. Your core identity of your game is super important. I can completely understand if this doesn't get added. I don't expect it to be honest. However, I feel like I never got a chance to offer a proper solution to fix it. If Farlight adds everything I mentioned here, excluding the jetpacks, it'll essentially become a prettier Apex. And I don't have to tell the Farlight devs or publishers how tough this gaming competition is and this landscape is, but currently it is getting even hotter. There are way more games coming out, and Farlight needs a way to stand out, and currently it just doesn't have that. With no advertisements, the PC version pulled extremely good numbers. So if you find something that works, it isn't a bad idea to try and revisit and rework it. That's all. Bye.